The Loupe and the Fabric Lab are joining together to start this new campaign called Craft Enchantment. Craft Enchantment is about embracing and celebrating the lost craft in different areas, in particular ethnic minorities and also jewelry, heritage craft. We're starting an exhibition called Weave together, how different craft and different disciplinary areas can weave together, how the yarns weave together, techniques of jewelry and techniques of textiles are fused together to create new ideas.
Loupe is an incubation space. It's a place for new and emerging jewelry makers to come and really explore new avenues of technique, of exhibition, of collaborations. And it's all under the umbrella of Chow Tai Fook, which is the jewelry company that's very popular here in Hong Kong and in China. And it's their contribution to the craft world and new and upcoming designers.
We've invited 4 designers from the Loupe Design in Residence to join the program. The idea is to really explore how textiles and jewelry can create synergies, or can it create synergies?
We are, as designers in residence, working with Elaine and with her company Fabric Lab to promote a specific line of fabrics that she's been working with and turning it into jewelry and accessory products. We started a few weeks ago with an introduction to Elaine's studio. We watched a film about her working in the village and with the villagers. We saw a lot of different samples of fabrics, got to ask questions, and she explained to us what she would like. And then it was the prototype. Sketches, little models, mock-ups, different things like that. And we are starting to create our final pieces. So we're getting the final pieces of fabric cut. Elaine's going to help us with that and bring it back to her studio for sewing. We are getting the metal end of the project completed as well. We'll be shooting the model shots. So everything has to be done. The product shots will be done as well.
I was not very interested in jewelry at all before I go to university because I just want to study something about art and design and three-dimensional and I can make with my hand. BA Jewelry in Central St. Martin is a very open-minded course that you can do anything related to body, so that I started to make jewelry. I had my work exhibited in V&A and also some other exhibitions like architectural biennial. Then I become the designer residence in Loupe. When I know that we are going to make jewelry with fabrics, that's something hard to jewel actually. But then I thought I can just think about displaying this fabric as a wearable jewelry. I went to Guizhou before, and that was when I was in high school. I find that there's children there and they are very easy to grow attachment to us because there's very few grown-up that they can feel that's care about them. So that's a very sentimental story that can connect together with this project.
This is not an art project, but is to explore new way to create ecosystem, bringing different designers together to create a synergy that comes from the designers themselves by understanding the value of craft from village to modern society.
Nature is where we live, architecture is where we build for ourselves to live, and art is where our spirit to stay. You need to catch people's eyes before they start becomes interested to the object. So I think I would definitely want to do something wearable, affordable, and really catch people's eye. So I'm very into do the ring because I think that's challenging.
I am very interested in how jewelry actually feels on our body. So a lot of my work has to do a lot with the tactile quality of it. How does it feel? How do we perceive the tactile side? What do we think it's gonna feel like when we touch it? And this is something I also see in Elaine's work. the name of the collection is Unfold, and I keep thinking about different layers of the story that start to unravel. So maybe that will be something that will at the end be the focus of the piece. I love that it's combining two fields, the textile and jewelry, because in my jewelry I actually apply a lot of textile techniques. So I think this can be a really interesting bond, but I also think it can be interesting if I separate them even more by making them even more contrasted sides in one piece.
Each designer has about 6 weeks to complete the outcome, and I've requested them to create 3 pieces each with their own story. We have asked them to think about 3 different price points to showcase the values and how it responds to the marketplace. Ideally, we are not looking for fast fashion. It can be a really nice piece of a daily wear, but it is a piece that we would like the buyer to keep, to have a story to share with the peers. I thought Mime's work and concept is really strong. She took the literal approach. She went onto our archive, our website. She did her own research, found images that's interesting to her and jumped into her, and then recreate the silhouettes and pick up the details that she find it interesting and recreate it through brass. She engraved the details of the clothing of the villagers, and she left the silhouette quite plain and well polished. The contrast leaves a room for the fabric to shine within the piece of jewelry, and also each of the silhouettes is as if it's working on the piece of fabric, so it has the sort of animated angle in one piece of jewelry as well as the 2D. There was one particular piece that it looks a bit like a medallion. We brainstormed a few times and couldn't quite figure out where to place that. Mime and we just accidentally placed on one of the prototype clutch bag that I made to demonstrate to designers how to create a modern take with these sort of modified fabrics from the village. And then all of a sudden we felt actually that's the right place for it. The fabric became a really clean canvas for the medallion to show up and shine.
It will not be the look of the piece or the aesthetics of the piece, but it will be actually its ability to tell even a little bit from Elaine's story. That will be a successful piece.
With Seth's signature work, he has a lot of movement within his jewelry, and what I love about his take with this project is he really celebrates with the village's traditional motifs. Not only taking the literal side of how to integrate with the fabric as a jewelry, but how do you celebrate the mark making, the diamond shapes and sign, and create movement. The village that we work with, the son is also a silversmith, and I'm sure Seth's work will provide new ideas that potentially they can collaborate together. It really drapes differently, it has different way of holding it. We were discussing about how do we use the traditional way of wearing apron in the village and take that as a concept to translate into his jewelry as well. So he really embed the culture and the part of making into his work.
It opens up a new way to promote the villagers and their craft and the heritage craft, and it fits nicely, I think, with jewelry, because that's kind of a lot of what jewelry is as well, as heritage.
Carrie's work has always been very different and quirky. She took the message of how to present the fabric itself as a piece of jewelry. Then she came to me and asked, how do I usually present fabrics to my client? And I said, actually, we don't really have a standard way of doing it. So she came with the concept of creating this fabric swatch card as the jewelry to highlight the essence of the fabric with her jewelry making skills. And I think this is really special. She created these big sample swatches that can apply for tote bag, also for shoes, and also for clothing. So it sort of moved away from the traditional jewelry concept, but really fit into the modern world of lifestyle product.
This jewelry needs to be wearable and fashionable, that made people want to wear it, and then we can tell the story.
Ting's design has a really different approach from all the other designers. She came up with a concept to create a bookmark. The dog sitting on top of the book, it's guarding the knowledge to pass on generations, and it's very meaningful to our exhibition collection.
When the piece can really emerge in our daily life, I think that's how we bring these legacies alive.
They already think quite deeply about the story and the relationship of the textiles with the original artisans. They want to find out more about where it's being made and the relationship, whether one maker to complete the entire roll of fabric, or were there 10 makers in that. How to include the personal philosophy of making and not just a generic approach of that culture.